What's the team news for the big game against Wolves? Then any players returning, any fresh injuries?
No, so Ricky's still out with a hamstring injury. He's still a couple of weeks away. Yannick played in a 21s game on Monday and injured his calf, so he's going to be out for the season now. Unfortunately, him and Ryan wanted to get back to fitness to put themselves into contention. Unfortunately, Yannick didn't get through it. Ryan's come through it, so he's got 65 minutes now under his belt. And Harvey Barnes, Harvey's ready to go on the grass. He's been on the grass. He's not actually trained with us yet. I think it'd be a risk to put him in on Saturday because we could lose him then for the 6 games, and I've got to balance that risk. So I know that he'll start training on Sunday and be ready for Tuesday then.
Was that an easy decision to think that sacrifice this game with him? With obviously the bigger picture in mind?
Yeah, no, it's not an easy decision. He's our top goal scorer this season, so big player for us. But I've just got to balance the risk. And I just felt the risk would be too much. He wouldn't have been able to start this weekend. That would have been too quick for him. But he may have got minutes off the bench. But the risk for him to re-injure was just too big for me. So Tuesday's more realistic goal for him.
Now that you've got Manchester City out of the way, what have you said to the players about these next 3 fixtures in particular, Wolves, Leeds and Everton?
Not an awful lot, really. I've only just spoke about the Wolves game. We're just taking it one game at a time. We knew the Manchester City away game was going to be quite a unique game because of the way they play, the form they're in, the level they're at compared to pretty much everyone else in the Premier League apart from Arsenal at the moment. So, it didn't help being 2 goals down so early. But I thought we defended our box in general okay and finished the game really well, so we can take positives out of that going into the game. But everybody knows, how important this fixture is on Saturday at home under new management for ourselves, and hopefully we get to see a lift from the players, and hopefully we can start how we finished the game at Manchester City.
What have you seen in your early days here that gives you the belief that this squad can stay up?
I think I said last week what I saw on the training ground was, a lift, some confidence in some players, that had probably been missing over the last few weeks. But from the match, the biggest thing that gives me belief, I saw players who cared. We went 2 goals down after 10 minutes, 3-0 down after 24 minutes. But players were worried about. They had a pride in their own performance. They had a pride in the team's performance and a pride in playing for Leicester City. So the fact that they cared, for me, shows me there's an awful lot of character in the team. And when you've got character and a spirit with the talent that we've got, then that should be enough to win football games.
As a manager, how much importance do you place on expected goals? We hear that term a lot nowadays in football. The reason I ask that is because I think Leicester had a higher XG than Manchester City in that second half, and I think that's the first time it's happened at the Etihad this season for an opposition team to have that. Do you place much importance on that? Do you look at that?
I worked at Brentford for 3 years, so I have to place some importance on it. But yeah, I mean, listen, the state of the game was different, obviously. Manchester City made changes when we got our expected goals up. For them to only have 1.6, I think it was, I think that's strong for us really defensively. Although we were 3 goals down, 0.8 is a penalty. So they didn't create massive chances against us, and that's a positive. And that's why we defended our box really well. The fact that we wanted to stay in the game and finish well. It happened that we didn't stay in the game, but we did finish really well, and that's a real positive to take because. Despite all the changes that Manchester City made and, we made at half-time as well, still hard to create them chances against City like we did.
And just a final one, Soyuncu back. For you, what did you see that made you bring him back and how important a player can he be?
I've always liked him from afar. So whenever I've come up against him or watched Leicester play, always enjoyed watching him. He's an aggressive centre-back, very, very good on the ball, strong, quick, everything that you'd like to see. And he showed them qualities in the first 2 or 3 days training. Obviously, my worry was the lack of game time he'd had. But he'd also played 2 games in the international period for Turkey. So, we knew he could go and play games. And when I spoke to him, the fire was there. And that's what I want to see, the fire that he wants to play and he wants to care for the club. And, I thought that was great to see, and that's why I put him in. Cheers, thank you.
Hi, Dean.
Hi.
Good afternoon. What did you sense from the players before and after the Man City game, especially in terms of their confidence levels leading to this weekend now?
So before the game, I thought there was an excitement about it, to be honest. A feeling that we could go and do something that very few teams go and do. Obviously then flames got very quickly dampened, with the goals that we conceded. So half-time was a difficult place. Players were feeling a bit low with being 3 goals down. I didn't feel it was a performance that deserved to be 3 goals down. Yes, Manchester City had lots of control. They have lots of control against most teams. But the big thing was they hadn't created big chances against us, and that was a plus. We had to, change a few things. We wanted to be a little bit more aggressive, when they were playing between the lines, and I thought we did that and won the ball back a number of occasions. So the feeling after was, a little bit of what if we'd, stayed in the game a little bit more, and, if Madders had taken his chance to make it 3-2 with, 7 or 8 minutes to go, could have been a different game. But yeah, we've learnt our lessons from that. The players have learnt about me and my coaching staff what we want, and we've learnt an awful lot about the players, because we managed to get 5 subs on the pitch as well, and looked at 16 players in total.
We saw the new manager impact at Wolves earlier this season. How do you think your players reacted to the change of management they experienced in such a critical timing of the season?
I think only time will tell. That'll be for other people to judge rather than me. I can only talk about what I see on the training ground, and the players have worked extremely hard so far, and with a great intensity and attitude as well.
Saturday will be your first home game as a Leicester manager. What do you expect from the fans and their support for this survival challenge?
Well, it's really important for us that we're together in this. We all want the same goal, which is to win football games and stay in the Premier League, and we can only do that together. What the fans will want to see is players who are working extremely hard for each other, proud to wear, the shirt, and we need to give them something to shout about, and hopefully we can go and do that. And I think the last game before COVID, I went there with Villa and we lost 4-0. I think Pepe Reina ran out, missed a ball, and they went 1-0 up. But from that moment, the fans got behind the team, and it was a real tough day then to get back. And we need the fans behind us at the King Power now.
What is the biggest threat you expect from Wolves Saturday?
I think they've got a threat all over the pitch. Costa's been a real talisman for them in terms of building off him, running the channels, everything you come to expect from him. But they're on a good run of form as well. They've just beat Chelsea 1-0, Brentford 2-0. So they'll certainly be confident.
And when you look at the relegation battle in general, why do you think we are seeing so many teams involved this season?
It's been quite a unique season, to be honest. So many teams being involved in it. At one stage it was Crystal Palace all the way down. Bottom 9 teams. Crystal Palace have just had a great return of results under Roy. And that's what we're hoping for now. Cheers.
We'll go to Charlie from BBC Finlands.
Hi, Charlie.
They always say you only get one chance at a first impression. With that in mind, ahead of Saturday, how much emphasis do you put on that opportunity to make that first impression in front of the majority of the fans for the first time?
Yeah, I don't think there would have been too many Leicester fans who didn't watch the Manchester City game. So, that was a first impression. Hopefully, the lasting impression is that these lads will keep fighting for us as they did last week. But we really need to be concentrated on us, and we have this week. We know the strengths that Wolves will have, but we've got to be concentrated on ourselves and get the fans behind us. And the only way you can go and do that is by being front foot, aggressive, and that's what we're looking to do.
When you're saying that the chances of survival in this little mini season that you've got yourself into here at the tail end of it wouldn't be decided based off of what you do at Manchester City, but the next 4, but certainly the next 3, is it fair to say that they could go a long way to deciding your fate?
Yeah, they could. I mean, as I said, Manchester City, you're not going to be defined on that. I don't think any team is going to Manchester City. But the games that are coming up now, we can only look at Wolves to start with, but it's a big game because our results at home haven't been where they should be. So we need to go and get a result and a performance, and because that will just lift the belief of the city and the fans as well.
Just finally, following them all season long, and think of the difference that one win made to the confidence of the group before the World Cup, way back when, and how they then managed to string a few victories together. Is confidence the biggest key still at the moment? What could one win do for this group?
It could really lift them. I mean, we look at the quality that we have, on the training ground, and we really like the qualities that they've got. We haven't brought that out onto the pitch for whatever reason. Over the last 8 or 9 games, our job is to get that out onto the pitch. I said before the last home game, what I saw against Bournemouth was a lethargy. We can't have that on Saturday. We need to be free. We need to be able to play with confidence. And, from what we've seen so far, I think they can do that.
Thanks, Dave. Wish you well on Saturday.
Thank you.
Johnny, it's Owen from Radio Leicester.
Hi, dude.
Hi, mate.
Okay. I wonder if I could ask about Yuri Tillemans and how he came through the game against Manchester City. It was his first start for quite a while. So how did he come through that, and how's he kind of doing this week?
Yeah, no, he got through it really well, and he's trained well this week as well. Part of my reasoning to put him in last week was, it was going to be a low block game against City. He's not going to be making 40 or 50 yard runs in that game, such is the state of games that Man City play. But I also knew he would be in a better place for the games to come by getting 60 minutes. And that's what he did. So we're really pleased that he got the 60 minutes last week. And he's in a better place now for this weekend.
On Charles Soyuncu, I know you've mentioned already that you've seen the kind of fire in his eyes. Do you see him as part of the back five, like you played against Manchester City, or do you see him as a player who can come in and play in a back four as well? I just wonder tactically how you view what he can offer.
Well, I think we all saw that on Saturday he can play in a 5, but he can play in a 4 as well, and has done so quite accomplished as well to play in there.
What have you made to Wolverhampton Wanderers in your preparation for this game, and tactically how you have to assess them and work them out? Yeah,
we've got to decide. Well, we've got to work out first and foremost whether they bring Neves straight back in. They've won 2 games without him. He's probably been a permanent fixture in the team since he's been there. But they've got quality players all over the pitch, and we have to make sure that we nullify the threats that they have and take our game to them. They're very well organised. They like to create overloads on the outside and get crosses into the box. So we're fully aware of them, and we fully respect the football club and the team they are. But we can't play with any fear this weekend, and we won't.
Final one, Dean. Is it fair to say that we'll see a bit more of an orthodox Dean Smith side this weekend, rather than the kind of game plan we saw at Manchester City, and that fans will get to see more of what and how you want this Leicester side to play in the remaining few games?
You won't see us sitting in a low block for the majority of the game, but unfortunately, I think that we felt that was the best plan to go to City, and I don't think I'm the only coach in thinking that way as well when you go and play them. So, no, hopefully you see more of a side that's demanding of possession, but also providing threats at the top of the pitch as well.